Pleasure, P. Diddy and the fam, who you know do it better. Yeah, right, no matter what, we in tight. So when you hear something, make sure you hear it right. Don't make an ass out of yourself. I'm not foolish. Music keeps you moving, keeps you moving. You know that I'm too
What up? It is 8:51. Everyone keeps saying that I need to have a 6:30 club on a Friday. So I didn't post my 40 charts. I did the morning call. I had some time. So I'm like, hey, let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world, see who's around. We can disclose, you know the drill. Let me say hello while I'll let you look at the chart at this time. This is the daily chart. I want to listen to some rap. You guys know what this is from. What up, Rockets? How you feeling? Who else we got in the house? Everybody sleeping? We got the Quest in the house? Come on. We got, why not, right? We got Pittsburgh in the house. All right, it's 8:52, September 9th. It's Friday. I hope everyone had a great 3-day active sequence as we prepare to see if the early strength holds or not. We got pieces in the house. We got Cat in the house. By the way, you guys know I'm doing an open house next week with the Alpha team where you can see what I put on positions, taking off, what I add to them, and discuss what's happening all morning long. Usually I'm on the radio from like 9:15 to 11:30. So if you want to check it out for the week, you should come in. What else we got? We got Cincy in the house. Good. All right. Let me turn this down a little bit. I only have 9 minutes. 9 minutes. All right, so this is what's going on. Some people are like, Red Dog, why are we up this morning? Why are we up 30 handles? Well, a few things. One reason why we're up is because in Asia, their CPI and PPI came out less than feared, meaning, inflation's slowing down, and we have CPI next week, which some think could be less than feared, which has been a decent, indicator for equities to go higher. That's one thing. Also, the ECB raised 75 basis points. Everyone's like, oh my God, what did that do? It strengthened the euro a little bit and weakened the US dollar a little bit. And we know that when the US dollar is going higher, it's higher for equities to go, or harder for equities to go higher. So, you have a little, 1-2 punch, dollar down, and you have, Asia broadly higher. And you also, you had some clues in the past few days. Okay, what kind of clues do I look for? Not the people on TV. I look for the charts. And if you look at the chart here on the daily chart, you go right to it. First of all, doesn't all this look like is what we did is, first of all, if you go active sequences, right? We had an active sequence from, July 14th all the way up into August. And remember, right around here, I'm like, I think we have the August top. Everyone's like, Red Dog, you're a genius. I'm like, no, I just, look at the charts. But anyway, that day confirmed my genius thought. From here, we've had about a 10% move lower, a spot that could or should have just at least paused and, get some kind of oversold bounce. Remember, I told you the oscillator was minus 84? Well, on this open, it's going to be closer to neutral. So there you go. The oscillator is no longer oversold, so that's not going to help. But maybe some other things help. So anyway, if you look across, this is where we broke out from. Remember this? This was like the right shoulder of that inverted head and shoulders pattern right around here. So what did we do? We retested that. So wouldn't it be cute if all of a sudden this low from September 6th is the low of September? Because nobody thinks that's the case. Everybody thinks we're going back to either here or here, which we might. We'll see. If we're going to go back to there, then the bears have to come and reject price. So when you're involved in a new active sequence, what you do is you measure things. So if you look here, like I just said, we have an open house next week for the Alpha team. Here's the Alpha team. Okay, right now there's about 232 traders talking about what's happening. What you do is you get to see my positions, and I don't have a lot of risk on, but I have the Qs on overnight. Rivian had a day one yesterday. I've been Uber for a while. URA is, a uranium play that I think has more of a swing upside. New is a Buffett play I bought yesterday, and pins I've been holding. So I have like 7 or 8 positions on that I'm massaging. Coming into the beginning of the week, I had almost none. And MBIO is just a name I took a lot of pain on that should be an IRA that I don't want to talk about. But anyway, so that's that. And you can see when I buy and sell, and I already actually trimmed a little bit of the Qs this morning because I do think that, coming into this resistance area at first kiss, it might be a better sell than a buy. So we're clearing 4,010, 4,057, which is pretty much the bottom of the Jackson Hole day. That would be, a likely spot for this to pause. The os will be a neutral. There's resistance. All the moving averages are curling down. So if the active bears want to step up, that's where they reject some price. Okay? And then you have huge resistance above, right around 41.20. This will be the battleground. That if they want to test the lows, or more in the next 4 weeks, then the bears cannot let the bulls reclaim this or that. Right now all it is just an oversold bounce, which has been very tradable. Yesterday you had that midday move lower that was bought. We held this 39.42, this was your Wednesday high, right? And we held it, which also was 50% or so of the Thursday move. Or sorry, this is Tuesday. This was Wednesday. Anyway, so it showed some commitment. Remember, that Thursday reversal, and then Friday we hit resistance and then didn't hold anywhere? Well, yesterday was a little different. So that gave you some clues to have some overnight risk, which is why I took the Qs home. Anyway, some people are like, Red Dog, what are you going to do with your wife's blood in the street account, the intermediate account? Well, on September 1st, I told you guys to put one tier back to work. Why did I put one tier back to work? Well, again, I always give you guys full disclosure. Remember, I was targeting 39.03. Okay, well, I did sell. I went to cash at 42.70, which I told you guys, and I did it. I'm not paper trading. Anyway, what's up, Virginia Beach? This was a Red Dog reversal sell around the 42.80, so I did sell a little early. I didn't get 43.25. And now, wouldn't it be kind of cute if all we did is retest this breakout area? Remember this wedge that ignited to the upside? Okay, what did we do? We just retested that, and you had a little bit of a Red Dog reversal where we went below 39.03, we hit 38.86 and came back up. So now let's see what this leads to. What can it lead to? I don't know. We shall see, right? I posted this chart so you can look at it there. Here is some resistance, right? That's the bottom of that Jackson Hole candle. That's where the moving averages start to curl down. So if the bears want to reject price and put a high, lower high, lower high, another lower high, this would be a likely spot in the next week or so. So we'll see. What's up, Jerusalem? Good to see you. Stay safe out there. Anyway, so we'll see. Now let's go to a few things. Let's go back to the daily chart. Some people like, on an active basis, for today, if you're not in Tesla, what would you do? Well, I said, well, first of all, Tesla still isn't acting special. Tesla has been just building. Remember, high, lower high, lower high, and then here, if you didn't buy Tesla on the Red Dog reversal on Wednesday or yesterday, up $4 on day 4 is not the time to start a new position if you're trying to actively approach it. What do I mean? Well, this is your better spot. Okay, right here is where you had your low of 266. You had this low, and on this day is when that's your Red Dog reversal buy. And then here you had a little follow through as it took out 276. Yesterday went from red to green and took out 288, hit 289.50. So, or that's sorry, 283. So here there is some room if it wants to put in a lower high, but up $4, I would say, if you're long overnight because it was one of the strongest things out there, you trim into it, and if you're looking for a short or a fade because you think we're going to open up and fail, you know what? Let it put a 5-15-minute high in and short verse that, and then maybe it goes, I say, from green to red. And if it holds up, you know what? It's going to be hard for much things to come down. But anyway, this is your 3-day move. Day 4 up usually is not a day to initiate a new long, for active traders. If you're in Tesla for the next 5 years, that's a different story. A lot of people are like, what's wrong with Apple? Well, Apple has definitely been lagging. Apple wasn't as oversold as everything else. If you remember that big move it had all the way up to 176, Apple then broke 172. That was when the active trend broke. That was when the frozen rope cracked, and then we had to move down to 152.68. I did try being long Apple yesterday, and I lost money. I thought it was after the event. They couldn't really sell it. Maybe it goes higher, and I was wrong, for a half a day. So I got out of the way. I'm not in anything. But for today, Apple's up a little bit. So two things could happen. Apple's up $1.25. Sellers come in because it was weaker yesterday. Look at this doji candle, versus the SPYs closed near the highs, the Qs closed near the highs. Qs and SPYs just had a 3-day rally. This really didn't. So today will be interesting. Sellers come in if it doesn't go down, okay, and it shows some relative strength this morning. Like just say, the SPYs open up 3.5 and pull in $1, and Apple doesn't pull in, or the Qs pull in $1. Maybe that gives you some clues that the texture is changing a little bit, and that this could be a viable pivot to trade against. And then if it were to get above 156.87, which is right here, then maybe it starts a new active sequence. So I'm watching it closely to figure out if I could put swing money back to work in Apple. It was a great swing trade during this time above the 8-day. Right now it's trying to prove to kind of hold like this prior breakout area or not. So that'll be interesting today. Yesterday I came out and I gave you guys my updated strategy on pins. I've been in pins for like 2 weeks, and so far so good. Today it looks like it's opening up above 24.43. Yesterday I said I was in the stock and I put on 2 call spreads, one for next Friday coming up and one after. And if you got involved yesterday with me, I've been in it for a little while already. It's up 90 cents. Congratulations, you're making some money. Scott, what funds do you hold in your long-term account and BOS account? All right, so she was working at UMDNJ, which is a hospital in Newark, New Jersey, from 2004 to 2012. She left to go into private practice. She had to leave her, her state-funded, benefits account, and I think it's traded through Bright House. So when she makes a move, she's got to call Bright House, sit on the phone, wait for someone to pick up, and then give her number. And they have funds there that correlate to the S&P 500. I'm not exactly sure the name, but that's what it correlates to. That's what I put it in. And also there are funds that correlate to the NASDAQ. And then when I say I'm putting it back into cash, it's a rider, which they have a product there that they can guarantee you 3 or 3.5% depending. So that's when it goes back to cash, which it was until September 1st. I put a third back in. So anyway, that's that. So back to pins. Here's pins. Where do I think it can go? I think why can't it get towards the 27 area, 27.50 area? Nice move. Held higher when the market was correcting and never broke below. You have the CEO bought stock. You have an activist there, so gave me confidence to stay with it. As far as Uber, look at Uber. Uber held its earnings gap, right? So that's why I think that's something that has swing trade potential. That was a power play for my power play subscribers, and I'm long it also. So the Alpha team sees that. So anyway, nice little move. Here was a day 1 breakout, day 2, and now it's up. I will be trimming some, but the reason why this is a candidate because you have a gap up after earnings that couldn't get filled, and it makes sense, right? I took for 2 years I didn't take an Uber during the pandemic, and I feel like in the last 3 weeks I've taken 10 Ubers. So I'm sure a bunch of other people probably taken some Ubers. So if you think about it, maybe that's that. Anyway, Uber's come in a long way, so why not? It is acting better. You could trade versus here. So those are 2 of the trades I'm on. I have reasons for trade. So what I like to do is I like to have a reason to be in a swing trade, and when that reason changes or the market says your reason isn't right, I get out of the way and I get myself stopped out. Right now, the market just had a 3-day move into resistance. If you got long midweek, I would be trimming into this spot, and then we'll see, what areas of resistance pause the tape, and if it pauses, holds in and goes, we'll figure out, does this active sequence have more legs, or was it just an oversold bounce? And those are some thoughts. Some guys, real quickly before I leave, like, Red Dog, Bitcoin's crazy. I'm like, you know what? Crypto does trade a little crazy. It uses technicals, but you got to know and be fast. And if you look here, not at that, at Bitcoin, it broke below 19.5 and then reclaimed 19.5. It almost did like a Red Dog reversal, where it stopped people out and then left people in the dust. And that's what crypto likes to do. It likes to make people feel bad about themselves. That's why it usually goes further than people would ever think, and it comes in more. So anyway, look what Bitcoin did. Okay, Bitcoin went below 19.5, right? This was a small little tight. It was very tight. Broke below 19.5, probably stopped people out because it broke below 19.5. Why wouldn't it test 17.5 if it does that? But then what did it do? Inside day, and then took it back real fast, and then cleared 20,100. And feels like Bitcoin is almost being dragged up by equities, where crypto was leading. Crypto led the move from May into the June lows, like when Ethereum was getting crushed. And now it feels like crypto doesn't know what to do, but now it's like, oh, well, equities are acting better. I shouldn't be so close to the lows. So it kind of had a nice little trade there. If you caught it, I did not catch it there. I actually got stopped out at 19.5, so I feel a little bit like a jerk, but it is what it is. I'll live. Anyway, here's some resistance, and then we'll see what this leads to. But did that count as an RDR? Yeah, pretty much. It wasn't like a 1 day where it traded below. It was you want to know where the battlegrounds are. You want to know where, who's going to win the active battle, the active bulls or the active bears. On this day, the active bears seem to have won the battle because they basically lost 19.5, and it looked like it was going to go back down to here. But then right there, this actually was a little bit of a different Red Dog reversal where it went back above that low, whatever that was. So that changed it a little bit. But then on this inside day, you're like, okay, what's next? Well, it then, obviously took back 19.5 and ignited. And you have a descending trend line here too, which it ignited above. So you have a bunch of things lining up besides, the S&P futures up 30 handles, and it caught some people short. Now I got to go. I got to get ready to trade. Hopefully you guys are had a nice week. Hopefully you've tuned into the 630 Club. I've had one every day. If you want to go into the open house, we're having our first open house next week with the Alpha team for free. you can spend the week with me on the microphone. I'm going to go back on 9:15. I talk through what I'm seeing, or what, if something's showing relative strength, relative weakness. I'm buying it, I'm targeting it, and this and that, and I'm telling some jokes and listening to some music, and you guys, get to have me, from actually I get on the radio usually around 7:20. By 7:20 in the morning, it's already like half a quarter of my day. I've been up since 4:45. I've already posted charts. Like a lot of people, like, hey, what is your private Twitter account look like? Well, this is the private one, and although I put 2 charts on the public one, basically I've been up all morning, posting the dollar, the TLT, NBIO, which is just not even a trade, Rivian, URA, PINS, Uber, AMD, Meta, Google, Amazon. Some people are like, hey, what do you think of Amazon? Well, what I do is, I draw the chart, which is just the Amazon chart. Amazon is a descending channel type look. It's opening above it. See if it can stay above 130.28 to start a new active sequence. So I post about 30 or 40 of those with my thoughts, and it's usually they're all up by 8:15. And then I do the morning call, and then whatever. So I'm not just sitting here at my desk listening to music. I'm prepping for the day, prepping for me, prepping for my team. And if I didn't prep for me or my team, I wouldn't be doing this for 22 plus years, because I'd be flapping in the wind. And traders that have success don't flap in the wind. They have a process and a plan and a routine. And usually they have to really like it, because if you don't like your routine, you're not going to do it every day. And if you don't do it every day, you know what? You're not going to be prepared enough to execute with confidence. And there's a fine line between making and losing money in this business. Okay? And that fine line to me is preparation. Not, how smart are you? It's how do you prepare? And how do you prepare is what puts you in a position to win. And with that being said, I hope you win in a little bit, and I hope you win on fantasy football this weekend. Looking forward to some beer and some steaks and some fitness and some football. Hopefully you had a good week so you could enjoy that with a smile. If not, you know what? Look at what you did or how you did it, and hopefully, work on it, because there were definitely some signals that, you could have seen to switch some gears if you were just overly bearish, But anyway, with that said, we'll see what resistance comes into play and what we could do going into next week. Later, guys.